Where do you see Samuel and Amanda in 10 years?
Well, at that point, I'm pretty sure they're going to be married. I don't know. I hope that they have probably like their own house and hopefully some kids, because I'm excited for that part.
What is the best marriage advice you can give them?
I don't know. I've never done it.
How should they celebrate their first wedding anniversary?
Oh, goodness. I don't know. This is the first time for me, and so I'm sure it's going to be something that they get to figure out, just the two of them.
How do you think that they should spend their first year to make it as memorable as possible?
I don't know. I think it's just like spend as much time together as they can, because no matter what they do, as long as, they get to do it together, they're going to enjoy it.
What will you remember most about their wedding?
I don't know. Probably just, when you're standing out there and watching them do their thing and getting to see them, enjoy it.
What do you think makes people fall in love over and over again?
I think it's just every time you get to kind of interact with each other, and every time that they kind of make you laugh or worry, or pretty much when they just make you feel stuff.
What is the most romantic place that you have been that they should visit?
Probably Hocking Hills, because that is actually really gorgeous, no matter where you are there.
Where do you see Samuel and Amanda in 10 years?
With children, many children, probably. But very happy. I think they'll be very happy and probably have a nice family.
Okay, there we go. What is the best marriage advice you can give them?
Probably love one another all the time. Don't forget how much you love each other, and communicate well, because that is a big one, I think.
How should they celebrate their first wedding anniversary?
Go on a trip together, probably, to somewhere that they like a lot.
How should they spend their first year married to make every day as memorable as possible?
Probably just be spontaneous and do whatever they want to do, because, they're married now. They can go do fun stuff together.
What will you remember most about their wedding day?
I don't know. Probably the morning with us getting ready. Second.
What do you think makes people fall in love over and over again?
When you see in the other person what you saw when you got married, so you're like, oh yeah, I love that about you a lot.
What's the most romantic place that you have been that they should visit?
Probably I don't remember exactly. Might be I don't know. Probably Hocking Hills. I have not been around that much.
What is the best marriage advice that you can give them?
Practice putting your spouse first, because it gets much more difficult the longer you're together. It's easy to be selfish.
How should they celebrate their first wedding anniversary?
Well, I hope they get to go somewhere special. Because of COVID, they didn't get to do the honeymoon they wanted, so I hope they get to go somewhere special for them.
What is your best advice for them in parenthood?
In parenthood. Be a parent, not a friend. Be a parent, love them, create parameters, but always flood them with love.
How should they spend their first year married to make it as memorable as possible?
We'll take lots of pictures, spend a lot of time together, do fun things, just simple things, take a walk, watch a movie, just be together.
What will you remember most about their wedding?
It was a lot of planning. Just that it's a beautiful day. God answered our prayers. It's a beautiful day, and it was a lot of work, but it's just very exciting that they're coming together.
What makes people fall in love over and over again?
What makes people fall in love over and over again? Well, that's a tough question. I think when you just remember why you fell in love, and when you look at old pictures or videos, that reminds you of that person that you fell in love with. Studied.
What is the most romantic place that you have been that they should visit?
Greece. We got to do a second honeymoon in Greece. Beautiful place. The island, in particular, the island of Crete.
What should they do every day as a married couple?
They should always tell each other that they love one another, hug each other, and just remember how precious it is to have someone special in your life.
Yep.
Where do you see Samuel and Amanda in 10 years?
Most definitely in Ohio.
Near us.
That's our big hope. 10 years. I see them. I know Samuel's not real crazy about the idea of buying a house, so maybe still in apartments, and that's fine.
Or a house.
Or, but I just see them being established and starting a family. Probably have a couple by then. We're
One
gonna-
more.
What is the best marriage advice that you can give them?
Yeah, that's easy. So, stay connected. Stay connected through your spiritual walk. That's the key. And then you guys stay grounded with that. It'll make it so much easier to stay connected to each other because you have a common basis.
How should they celebrate their first wedding anniversary?
Well, we went to Kelly's Island and ate the top of the cake near the glacial grooves, and that was really fun.
It was.
So, if you want to do that, that's fine. You seem to be doing a lot of things we did back then.
They are.
Graduating, getting married next week.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Meeting at Northern.
you can go to Kelly's Island.
Just together.
Yeah.
Obviously.
What is your best advice for them in parenthood?
That's a good question. I at one point thought, I need advice on this particular issue. I remember thinking this at one point when the kids were little, and then I was trying to think, who can I ask? What resource do I need? And then I realized I just need to pray about it and ask the Lord for advice. And then, of course, the second piece of that is lots of love.
Your best asset is each other besides the Lord. But then when you get these assets, it's like, oh my goodness, we get to be a part of growing them up.
Mm-hmm.
So do we want to build them up or do we want to tear them down? And of course we want to build them up.
How should they spend their first year married to make it as memorable as possible?
Together and not stress about the apartment, not stress about work, not stress about all the other things. Just focus on each other, learning and studying one another, and what builds each other up.
I agree, and I think I would add to that, don't worry about the world, what the world thinks you might ought to do.
just enjoy being together and do what you like doing. Be you together.
What will you remember most about their wedding day?
Okay, this sounds really generically silly, but checking the box and getting it done because we want them married for a long time, but they did it. We are so proud of how they did it, that they got graduated and they, in my opinion, got married as quick as they could, and I'm thrilled about that because we are so excited about getting another daughter that we love dearly and see Samuel so happy.
I love the fact that it's such a family thing that Amanda has asked the girls to be her bridesmaids. And, okay, I'm just going to tell your story. I love the fact that he told me that last night when Amanda got here, she said, "Hi, Father." That just melts my heart. I hope she realizes how much we love her and how much we want her to just be a part of the family. And, yeah. And how much we appreciate how good she is to Samuel.
Thank you, sweetie.
What makes people fall in love over and over again?
Discovering the new things about each other. We don't know everything about each other. And that's, I mean, we've been married now almost 27 years, and we still discover things.
Yeah, it's paying attention to one another and focusing on one another and, you know, in a positive light, obviously. Taking the time for one another, I think is
What is the most romantic place that you have been that they should visit?
Can't say that one?
No. Okay,
We'll tell them that
Bellemere
one
was
later.
a lot of fun, but what probably,
We said romantic, not fun.
yes, that was romantic. We really, I know your mother really loves Hocking Hills. We had a lot of memories there. We know, you know, we went to Hawaii. And
Hawaii is
that's
a very
a
romantic
beautiful
place.
There's a lot of romantic places, but to be honest with you, just together.
Yeah.
That's the most romantic thing is you can,
Yeah, it's when you make time for each other and you
Yeah.
do special things for each other because you know that your spouse loves that, you know,
Yeah.
whatever it is that, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember our first Christmas together, he got me bath towels as a gift, which normally would seem cheesy and unthoughtful, but the reason he did it is because we had went to a friend's house, the Wycka's house, and we spent the night there. And I commented to him the next day, "Did you see their bath towels? They're huge. I love them. They're so soft." And he remembered that months later and got me a couple. And they were huge and they were soft and I loved them. So it's
So
all
how do you
speaking the
express-
other's love language.
how do you express love? Big towels.
What should they do every day as a married couple?
Wake up with a good morning kiss.
Wake up every morning and thank the Lord that you're together.
Do you have any message for them as parents?
Rephrase that.
Like
As
your parents, right? So do you have any like advice or anything that I didn't cover in questions that you would like to say to them that you want in a video?
They know, I know Samuel's heard this over and over and over again. You're your family's biggest cheerleader. You want to see your family succeed. So it goes back to the why tear down what you want to see flourish, to blossom. So whether it's your spouse or your children or even your extended family, don't tear them down. You can always focus on negative things and that never gets you positive results. So focus on the positive things, build them up. Be the cheerleader for each other, be the cheerleader for your kids, for your extended family, for your friends. And you'll just reap the benefits and rewards of that.
And the one piece of good advice that we got right before we got married was right at the outset, establish verbally, don't just assume that it's an understood thing, but establish verbally that the D word is never an option. No one ever gets married assuming that at some point they'd get a divorce, but it happens. So you've got to establish at the beginning, we are never getting a divorce. We're never giving up on one another. We're never giving up on us. We will always work it out. And keep that as a promise.
And that goes back to the beginning where make Christ the center of your life. And He will make all those decisions, I won't say easier, but at least a basis you can both point to. A moral compass that you both can use.
Because a cord of 3 strands is not easily broken.
What is the best marriage advice you can give them?
Always put the other person first.
How should they celebrate their first wedding anniversary?
With their family.
Reliving their memories and just reaffirming the vows they made today.
What is your best advice for them in parenthood?
Raise them up in the ways of the Lord.
Listen, be slow to anger, and think before replying. And listening is always a good place to start. 2 ears and 1 mouth.
How should they spend their first year married to make it as memorable as possible?
Having a weekly date, even if that means just spending half an hour with each other.
What will you remember most about their wedding?
How happy they live together.
What makes people fall in love over and over again?
I only fell in love once. Fall in love with the same person over and over, but you still live. So.
Yeah, well, I think as we grow older, you see other aspects of people that you haven't seen yet, that haven't matured yet, and all those kind of things as we get older. And a lot of times, when you live with God's point of view, it makes more beautiful each year that goes by.
What is the most romantic place that you have visited that they should visit?
Hawaii.
Yeah, it's a beautiful place.
What should they do every day as a married couple?
Let their mate know how much they love them.
Yes.
Every day.
And never leave mad. Whether it's going to work or school or whatever they're doing, never separate.
I think it's bubble time, Sissy.
Letting each other know how much they mean to one another.
Bubble time.
How did you guys meet?
We met at a fusion event at college, which is like it's kind of like the college version of youth group there. It's a church event that we went to, and we met at the Halloween party. And I was dressed as a pirate, and she was dressed up as a gender-bent, sexy Steve Jobs. And I knew right then.
Okay. What was your first impression?
Amanda was one of those people that looked like she wanted to talk, but was never going to actually introduce herself. I saw her from like halfway across the room while I was talking to Sam, and I was like, that looks like fun. And so I walked over and started talking to her.
What was your first date?
Our first date was actually, I was racking my brain trying to think of something that wouldn't be like freaky, like, oh my gosh, she's actually asking me out on a date. So I eased her into it with a guitar lesson, because she had been talking to me about wanting to learn how to play guitar. So I offered her a guitar lesson, and we went to the music building, and I gave her a guitar lesson for about an hour.
What are your favorite things about Amanda?
I got a lot of them. I think my favorite thing is the thing that I always say when people ask me, like, what made me know I fell in love with her in the first place. It was the selflessness and kindness of her heart towards others. She's extremely giving in all of life, but especially when like other people are in need or like just emotionally even, like she's just very giving of herself and always tries to put others before herself, and I like that a lot.
Do you have a message for Amanda before you get married?
I do, and it's written in our little letter that we're gonna have each other read. But like this one, like the message now,
Yeah.
I think I just tell her to breathe. I know she's prone to get a little bit stressed in events like this, especially this one we've been going up to for a long time. I'd say it's all gonna work. It's all gonna go all right. It'll be okay.
In what ways are you and Amanda most alike?
We have a very similar sense of humor, which it bodes well for me because that's like 90% of my appeal. That's probably the only reason she's with me, but that's okay.
In what ways are you most different?
Our attitude towards stuff, like things that are happening. Because I'm very chill and laid back about plans, and I don't plan. And then she's very much wants there to be plans all the time. The same reasons.
How did the proposal go?
The proposal actually went even better than I could have hoped. We planned it out. We went to Gorman Nature Center and walked out to where the pond is on that little peninsula and had a little picnic. And I had all three of my sisters hiding in the bushes, army crawling around in ghillie suits with cameras so that they would get candid photos of it, and it went really well. At one point, Amanda thought she saw Abby, but she didn't, so that's good. And then, yeah, I don't think she saw it coming, and she cried, so that's good. And then she said yes, so that's even better.
What are you most looking forward to about your wedding day?
It's cliche, but it's seeing her walk down the aisle. I really have been waiting for this for a long time, and I'm very excited for it to actually be happening.
Why do you love Amanda?
That's a very complicated question. Say why I love Amanda is both, like, there's a lot of reasons for it, but one of them is her, like, she's a fantastic, godly woman, and she's really just great. She's nice to me, and we hang out a lot. It's pretty great. I like it.
What do you have planned for your honeymoon?
We're going to Miami. So this was a whole thing. We originally were going to go on a cruise out of Miami, which was going to be really cool. We were going to go to the Bahamas, and then it got canceled. So we decided to go to Miami instead because Amanda really wanted to swim with dolphins. And I was like, yeah, that sounds cool. So we booked a dolphin thing in Miami, and then that got canceled. And so we found somewhere else that would let us swim with seals. And we were like, yeah, that's kind of a dolphin. So we went with that.
If you could change one thing about Amanda, what would it be?
That actually is a pretty easy question because I know it's the thing that she would probably also change about herself, and it's that she gets very stressed out about a lot of things that she probably doesn't need to, and it affects her health, like her physical health. She'll get like stomach aches and headaches and stuff like that, where she's just really doesn't know why she feels that way, but like she's just physically upset by something. So that would be a thing. I can just help her calm down a little bit.
How did you and Samuel meet?
We met on Halloween when it was fusion night, and so I turned around and there was a pirate there, and he started talking to me, and then the rest is history. So
What was your first impression of Samuel?
I thought he was, I wouldn't say full of himself, but very like, this is who I am as a person, and I love that because I'm not like that, and so I was very attracted to that. And he's very handsome, so I was like,
Okay. What was your first date?
First date, we had a guitar lesson. This is where we first actually talked to each other, and so I was trying to learn guitar, but I wasn't going to. And he's like, oh, I could teach you, and we learned like 3 chords, and that was about it. And it was an hour lesson, so.
What do you love about Samuel?
I love how kind he is. He loves giving stuff to other people to make them smile, no matter the cost of it. And he's just very giving. I love that about him.
How are you and Samuel most alike?
I think we like the same music. We're both really into like Broadway and country songs, but he's better at singing them than I am. Yeah.
How are you and Samuel most different?
He's very out. He's the extrovert. I'm the introvert, and so he's very much out there. And I'm like, "You did a good job, sweetie," and he'll be back there like, "Yeah."
How did the proposal go?
So on the way, he proposed to me at a park, and we were on our way to take a picnic, and he convinced me that it wasn't the proposal, that we were just gonna go eat. And so I was like, all right. And so we sat there at the picnic, and he kept wanting me to stand up, and so I stood up, and then it happened. I was freaking out, and I cried, and I was super excited, and then his sisters were popping out of the forest, which was hilarious. So I say it went pretty well.
What do you have planned for your honeymoon?
We're going to Miami, Florida, and my favorite part is the first day we're there, we're going to the sea aquarium to swim with seals, and then the rest of the time I'm hoping just to relax and swim in the ocean.
If you could change one thing about Samuel, what would it be?
That's a good question. I don't think I would change anything about him, but maybe like his work time, so he can work at home and I can bother him all the time. But yeah, I think he's perfect the way he is.
What do you think you're going to remember most about the wedding day?
Probably walking up to him, because I will stare him down because I don't want to look at anybody else because I'll be nervous. But yeah, he's my rock.
Do you have a message for Samuel for before the wedding?
My message is I'm so excited, a little bit nervous, but it'll be fine. But I very much look forward to us spending the rest of our lives together, and I look forward to being there for you for the ups and downs all the way through.
Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
I'd love to have like a farmhouse and 3 kids. Would be nice. Maybe not in like that time span, but it'd be nice. And then ducks. We've talked about having ducks. And one duck's like a little pond, and they live there. And have like a dog that's really hairy. It looks like Chewbacca and name it Chewie. That would be cool. That's what I see.